What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA here, and yeah, let's do a little bit of box office talk, a little bit of box office prediction. Let's see if we can figure out what's going to happen this weekend with this movie, The Lost City. It's starring Sandra Bullock. It's got Channing Tatum in it, Brad Pitt, Daniel Radcliffe. Nice all-star cast. I found this article on Deadline. It says here that The Lost City is set to hook women and fire up the spring box office streak. So I found this article particularly interesting when it comes to the box office for this movie, and here's the reason why. So it goes on to say here that this is going to be the first of 6 releases in a row from major studios where you have a big opening, a wide release. Over the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about how nobody's really releasing big films. It's kind of a lot of limited releases here and there. It's a couple of wide releases, but it's kind of like small horror movies. Now we're talking about some major studio hitters. Okay, so we got Paramount's The Lost City. That's first up. That's coming up this weekend. All right, then it jumps over. We're going to have Morbius, Sony's Marvel Morbius on April 1st. Then Paramount once again, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 coming April 8th. We got Warner Brothers' Fantastic Beasts, The Secrets of Dumbledore coming April 15th. And then 2 on April the 22nd, Nick Cage and the Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. And then DreamWorks' The Bad Guys. So lots of big movies on the way. What's interesting about this, a couple of things, is that number one, women haven't really been going back to the theaters, and it kind of gets into that right here. Again, this is Deadline. You can read the article. I'm not going to read it, but it does say here that, he says they're hoping to draw in the female audiences. So females haven't really been coming back. Women have not been showing up to the theaters, due to the pandemic. They may be a little bit more hesitant to run back to the theaters and see all their favorite movies. It does mention here that the 2 female-centric movies that even dropped on Valentine's Day didn't do that well. So how's this movie going to do? I think this movie is going to really come down to word of mouth. Obviously, you have a large cast, but you have a comedy, have an action adventure. How are people feeling about this? Well, let's just go ahead and jump over to it because we have some early reviews from Rotten Tomatoes. Right now it's sitting at 86%. Pretty good, audience score of 90%. I know that there has been some social media comments on this film from folks that have already gone to see it. They say it's funny, they say it's hilarious, it's a lot of fun. Okay, so it looks like that this movie might get the kind of word of mouth that it needs in order to succeed. We'll see what happens opening weekend, but I want to quickly jump over to kind of my numbers and what I think will be kind of standing in the way possibly for this movie to do well. So let's go ahead and check that out. Okay, so here is my make it or break it for The Lost City. Now, you know how we do here. We got the film, we got the budget, the break-even number. Of course, we don't know what the worldwide box office is quite yet, but The Lost City was made for a budget of $74 million. The break-even is 2 times or twice the budget plus half the budget. That comes up to $185 million that it needs just to break even. Okay, so look at all of the stuff that's standing in its way. You got the Batman, which is still out in theaters and is still going to be playing this weekend, of course, so that's going to give it a little bit of competition. But right after this, following this weekend, you're going to have Morbius. Morbius is coming out. That's going to give it some competition. Behind that, on the 8th, as we saw the article, you got Sonic 2. That's going to be out there. And then the following week after that, Fantastic Beasts 3. All of those movies are heavy hitters. They're not going to be easy to compete against. And you have a comedy adventure, you have a romance. How is that going to do? It's really going to need that word of mouth, and it's really going to need that female audience. The ladies are going to have to support this thing. Otherwise, I don't know, it might fall flat on its face. But here's another thing that I wanted to point out. I kind of said, well, what would this movie be maybe the closest comparison to? And we do have a recent one, which is Uncharted. Okay, so Uncharted, and here are the actual numbers. That's what Uncharted actually did for each of these particular metrics. You can see it there. Friday night, $15 million. Opening weekend, it was $44 million. Domestic total, $126. Worldwide, $337. Okay, so that's where Uncharted was. Now you get over to The Lost City. this is my projections. There are some other numbers out there, but these are my projections, and they're kind of close to what's been projected. I can show you that in a minute. But you can see Friday night, I'm thinking somewhere around that $10 million mark. That's my expectations. Opening weekend, somewhere in that $29-30 million opening weekend. A domestic total of 79 to 80 million. And then worldwide is tough. It's probably the toughest thing to gauge because you never know how other countries are going to take this particular film. But I'm thinking somewhere in that 165, 100 to 70 million, somewhere in there. I just gave it the low end just to be on the safe side. But $164 million, I think that's probably accurate or close to it. So yeah, I mean, we could go back and look. And if the break-even number is 185, my projection is 164. I don't know if it's going to make the money. It's really, really going to depend on the word of mouth, on how many women go out to watch this movie, dragging their boyfriends. I'm sorry, not dragging their boyfriend. I'm sure the boyfriends love to go to the film with them. But how many of them will really be coming out to see this film? How many times does it get any kind of repeat viewing? You know, that's the thing that's going to really make a difference. I know that it's already gotten some advanced screenings. So some folks have already gone out to seen it, and, you know, they've been commenting on it. It's great. It's funny. It's hilarious. Everybody's having a great time. So that's going to be key, you know, as the weeks go on, because again, look what it's competing against. You know, you got big, heavy hitters. You got a lot of action going around Sonic, especially Fantastic Beasts. I think that one is a real big one because you're going to get a lot of female audience that are going to go and watch that film as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But what do you think? Do you think my projections here are close? Do you think I'm way off? Go ahead, jump down in the comments, let me know your thoughts on that. But yeah, that'll do it. I want to thank you for watching. This is my little box office prediction. I don't do them often, but you know, I'm probably trying to do a couple more of them. I'm definitely going to do one for Morbius because I think Morbius is going to be one that we can really dissect and dig deeper into. All right, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.